The cultures, the religions, the societies we are brought up in, the family structures we are brought up in, are constantly drilling into our mind that we ought to do certain things to appease the social approval of a certain culture, what is valued in that certain culture. Now, we can argue, of course, that what is valuable in this culture is not as valuable in another culture, but the main point is that we're all caught in the same cycle. We're still all running around in the same wheel like a hamster, running around and around and around, trying to show the world, yes, we do belong. I am part of the group. I am part of this and that. And as you know, if you're on the spiritual path, particularly if you're going deeper and deeper and deeper into the spiritual path and peeling away the layers of your ego, your jiva, your persona system, then you'll realize that, hold the phone here. I do inherently belong. So what is the problem here? It's the structures, it's the socialization process that needs to be questioned, not myself. I inherently belong. Does that mean that we are immune to behaving badly or making wrong decisions or committing crimes, etc.? Of course, that's not what it means. But the irony is, when a society is constantly telling you that you do not belong, that's what breeds criminals. That's what breeds bad behavior. This is very much in line with the Taoist mentality, right? And particularly Mencius, where Mencius is kind of saying that we fundamentally are good, but it's the society that makes us bad. It's the environment that we are brought up in that makes us think in strange ways. And one of those strange ways is that we don't belong. And so what we see in the world, particularly in this day and age, is we see everyone trying to do something to appease a certain group, no matter whether that is a nation, a religion, a race, a sex, what have you. You see people trying to appease certain groups because then if that group validates their existence, then they feel as though they do belong. And inherently within this is insecurity, because you are so insecure that you can't stand on your own 2 feet and say and reclaim that you do belong. I'm fundamentally one with Brahman, with the Tao. There can never be a separation. It's only the illusion that there is a separation that makes me feel as though I need to belong. I need to get social approval and positive reinforcement from the world. But you don't. This is what social media is doing to people, see? Social media are leaning into this unconscious habit and belief that we don't belong. And they keep reinforcing, particularly to young people, that they don't belong. And so they will do certain things online to try and gain social approval and positive reinforcement. And all that's happening is the social media companies are reinforcing a form of psychosis in the minds of the world. We're already at a stage from the beginning from a mental psychosis because the world's telling you you don't belong. But you do belong. You inherently belong. And I know I harp on about this all the time, but I wanted to make a video specifically about it because I see in the world a lot of people always behaving as though they don't belong. And they'll do anything to try and belong. And then you'll see groups fighting each other because both groups feel that if one group is different to them, then that threatens their existence. And then they feel as though they don't belong. And so they have to fight and defeat this other group, not just in a violent way, but in passive-aggressive ways and covert ways. And that will ensure their existence if they can defeat the opposition, in air quotes. But the fact of the matter is, the way that humans evolved, we have all different cultures around the world. And from a higher perspective, when you follow the path of minding your own business and just allowing cultures to be as they will, then you realize that we all do belong and we can all follow our own cultures and we can all live together in harmony because our similarities far outweigh our differences. But the way that the world is geared, because of this concept that we don't belong, we lean into the real minute differences, particularly with different cultures, with different races, sexes, etc. And then you see certain immature companies and corporations conflate those minute differences to being something that they're truly not. But you need to focus on the similarities and understand inherently that you do belong. Nothing in this world can define who you truly are. We can read the great texts, we can listen to the great teachings, but they're pointing you to that. But nothing here can make you feel like you do belong. Okay, your culture and your religion may make you feel as though you are part of something much greater, and that is still pointing you into that greater understanding. The problem is that a lot of religions and cultures are trying to tell you that you are separate from that belonging. See, when you understand that you're fundamentally the Atman, the self, the undifferentiated consciousness, you understand then that you are ultimately one with Brahman, the Tao, the ultimate reality of existence. And so, how could you ever not belong? You fundamentally belong because you are one with it. There is no separation. There never was a separation. You inherently belong. And so from this understanding, and this is the fundamental, ultimate understanding of existence, you are one with the ultimate reality. Then when you look at it into the world, everything that is trying to tell you that you don't belong, you need to be very suspicious of that. And in some sense, dismissive. Because when people are trying to tell you you need to do this or do that to get social approval or to be part of a certain group, you need to really question their motivation and understand that they themselves are likely indoctrinated with this belief and habit that they don't belong. And they probably are, because most of us are brought into that understanding in this world. And so the more we peel those layers of socialization away, the more we come into this understanding that we inherently belong. And that's where you can have ultimate love from that perspective, because fear comes from the fundamental idea that you don't belong and you need to be part of the group or part of the world, like you aren't part of the world already, but to get social approval and validation from those who we give way too much weight to their opinion. We often value the opinions of many other people and institutions and cultures and so forth. And we should not actually be valuing their assessment of who we truly are. It doesn't matter who it is. If education says that you're not worthy enough, that's a fundamental lie. You are worthy. You do belong. If your culture is saying that, you do belong. If your parents are saying that, you do belong. It does not matter who says it. You fundamentally do belong. Inherently within the nature of your existence is the true self. And that binds us all as one consciousness, the Tao, Brahman. And so you have to fundamentally change your way of thinking. You have to get out of this habit of trying to appease others and instead follow your way, follow your life without self-censoring yourself, without trying to appease others, but following your way authentically and naturally and seeing where the Tao guides your life. You don't need anyone to validate that experience other than yourself, because you are living that life. And actually, you don't need to validate it because you are living that life, right? You are one with the Tao. You are one with the river, and you are moving with the river because you do belong. And you always will belong, and you always have belonged. But the world is constantly telling you that you don't. And we'll do anything to reinforce that. We will say you're not good enough. We will say you don't look a certain way. We will say you're not educated enough. We will go to war in this belief that we don't belong. But you do belong. And if everyone understood that they do belong, we would live in a completely different world, a much more peaceful world, and we would live in harmony. And that's a fact of the matter. So again, when the world's trying to drag you down, trying to pull you in, to get involved into this and that, trying to make you part of this group or that group, it's completely fine and completely sane and healthy to say, I'm good where I am because I do belong and I don't need anyone or anything to tell me otherwise. Shanti, shanti, shanti.